So yes, today what I'm going to tell to all of you, just giving a brief introduction to whatever we had studied in chapter number 2nd, and then we will start our chapter number 3rd, kingdom Animalia. Understood? So in chapter number 2nd we had studied that all the living organism which exist in world or universe is divided into 5 kingdom. Okay, and inside the kingdom what comes? Phylum. Okay, so the main 5 kingdoms are kingdom Monera, kingdom Protista, kingdom Fungi, kingdom Plantae, kingdom Animalia. Till kingdom Plantae we had already studied in chapter number 2nd. Okay, now which kingdom is left? Kingdom Animalia. And I had already told to all of you that kingdom Animalia is the largest kingdom of the living organism. Understood? That's why there is a separate chapter, chapter number 3, which tell you about the kingdom Animalia. Now inside the kingdom you see several phylum, and kingdom Animalia is that kingdom which not only include large number or variety of animals but also include large number of phylums. Understood? Inside the kingdoms there are several phylum. For example, in plant section you had seen, student, that there was a kingdom Plantae and there was some phylums, and in the section of plant the phylums are termed as division. Okay, if we are talking about animals we will call it phylum, if we are talking about plant we will call it division. So there was 5 division: Thallophyta, Pteridophyta, Bryophyta, Gymnosperm, Angiosperm, right? But in the case of animal we are going to see several there are numerous number of phylum. Okay, here we will call it phylum and there we will calling division. Understood? So one thing you have to remember, that in the case of plant you have to say division, in the case of animal you have to say it phylum. Okay, so see students, page number 41, all of you see in your book, page number 41. When you see the kingdom Plantae, it is broadly divided into 2 parts. One is vertebrate and second one is invertebrate. The first one is invertebrate and the second one is vertebrate. So firstly you will know that what is invertebrate and what is vertebrate. All of you know what is vertebral column, which is present at the back side of your body, the backbone. So if the animal is having a vertebral column or backbone, that means that is having a back support, that animal is having a back support. So those animals that they have the vertebral column is known as vertebrates. Okay, and if the animal do not have vertebral column, they will be known as invertebrates. So basically in biology the in means absence. Understood? If any word contain a in before itself, that means that is absent. For example, any word which contain a and that is the opposite of its word, anybody can give me the example of that? Okay, no one is knowing. Okay, no problem. Hope you are not had studied lots of in biology. So for example, students, see, if any word meaning is something, for example here it is written vertebrates. So vertebrates means animal those who are having vertebral column. So if vertebrate contain in before itself, invertebrate means that do not have vertebral column. Understood? Okay, so firstly we will study invertebrates, because as I told you all of you that in biology we go from simple to complex one. Understood? So Invertebrate will be the simple one animal, and the vertebrates will be more complex than that of invertebrate. Understood? Okay, so when we see the invertebrates animal, there are Porifera, the phylum Porifera. See in book, the first phylum in invertebrates is phylum Porifera, then phylum Coelenterata, then phylum Platyhelminthes, then phylum Nemathelmes. Sorry, the 1 second students, the Platyhelminthes and Nemathelmes both belong to the same phylum, but here the both has written separate way. So what you have to do is to study them separately. Okay, then Annelida, then Arthropoda, then Mollusca, then Echinodermata. Okay, see, only the names are different, but when you are going to study it inside, it is very easy. So don't take tension, it is very easy. Okay, so here see 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, there are 8 phylums which you have to study in the which section? In the invertebrate section. Understood? Invertebrate section, what you are going to study? Phylum Pisces, amphibia, reptiles, aves and mammals. And one thing more students, the Pisces, the amphibia, the reptiles, the aves, the mammals all belong to a single phylum. Understood? And that phylum will be known as, yes, very good. So students, see what I am just telling you, don't be like that how the names are written, how tough it is. Only the names are tough, okay, but the things which is given inside the names, that is very easy. Okay, so let us start the very first invertebrate, that is phylum Porifera. Okay, phylum Porifera, the first invertebrate. So when you see phylum Porifera, that is also that topic is also going to start on page number 41. Porifera means animals those who are bearing pores. Animals those bear pores comes into the category of which phylum? Porifera. Understood? And especially these animals are known as sponges. See, had you seen sponges at your home in the kitchens? Then when you see that sponges, what you see, why the sponges are so you can say that spongy in nature? Because they have very much pore inside them. Because of that pore, they can absorb much of water, and when you squeeze that water comes outside. Understood? Like that only the phylum Porifera animals do their work. Understood? They also bear lots of pores on their body. Okay, and from there this term of sponge came, and that word we use in our kitchen thing which you use for rubbing your dishes. Understood? The things which we use to clean our dishes, that is not the real sponge. That is named as sponge by getting the knowledge of sponges from the phylum Porifera. Understood? From where this name is come? Okay, so when you talk about the animals of phylum Porifera, they bear pores all over their body. Here are some examples of phylum Porifera is given. For example, Cycon is given. See figure 3.2. Cycon is there, Spongilla is there, and Euspongia is there. Okay, all the animals, see, and one thing more, they all belongs to the sea animals. You are not able to see all these animals in your land, on your land, or on air or anywhere else. See, with the help of the diagram, you are able to recognize that they are. Is someone is going to say something? Okay, so with the help of diagram, you are able to see that all are belongs to the sea animals. Okay, like Cycon, Spongilla, Euspongia, all belongs to the sea animal. Okay, So a large pore or opening is present at the top. When you see a body of a porifera animal, what you see, there are lots of pore all over the body, but when you see the top of the animal, there is a large hole which is considered as the mouth of that animal. Understood? A body of an animal contain lots of pore, but the top of the body contain a large pore which is considered as a mouth. Understood? Okay, now they are mainly found in sea. See, here it is written, they are mainly found in sea. Only a few occur in fresh water. Very few of the animals of phylum Porifera occurs where? In fresh water. They are found attached to the bottom of the sea or pond. And where they are found? They are found at the bottom of the water bodies. Understood? Now, the second phylum is phylum Coelenterata, or Coelenterata are also known as phylum Cnidaria. Okay. Now, Cnidaria, how they animals look like? They look like hollow sac. Their body look like a hollow sac. Khali, hollow means what? Khali, sac like a sac like means what? झोला होता है ना, झोला देखा है? That is sac. So their body will be like hollow in the structure. Hollow मतलब अंदर से वो कैसी होगी? खोखली होगी. Understood? So now see, there are some animals which is given, which belongs to the phylum Coelenterata, that is hydra, sea anemone and jellyfish. These three belongs to which phylum? Coelenterata. Their body is hollow, sac-like. As I told to all of you what is the meaning of sac-like and what is the meaning of hollow. With only one opening, and there is only one opening found in their body, and that is known as mouth. Okay. The mouth is surrounded by finger-like processes called tentacles or catching food, and the mouth of them is surrounded by tentacles. See, in hydra also you are able to see the finger like projection. In sea anemone also you are able to see finger like projection. In jellyfish also you are able to see large finger like projection. Okay, so these are known as tentacles, and tentacles are present at the surrounding of mouth. With the help of these tentacles, they catch their food and get inside their mouth. Understood? Okay. Now, if we see the example of this, there is hydra, sea anemone and jellyfish. Now, the third phylum is phylum Platyhelminthes. Platy comes from plate, and plate is like flat in structure. The plate you use at your home, that is flat in structure. From there the platy comes. So the animals of Platyhelminthes will be flat in their structure. So there are some examples of animals from, yes beta. Okay, so the animals which belong to phylum Platyhelminthes will be having their flat body. So here at figure 3.4 there are two examples given, liver fluke and tapeworm. See, the body of liver fluke as well as tapeworm is flat in the structure. Okay, flat means chipta. Okay, so Platyhelminthes have thin, soft and flattened body. Not only they are thin, but also they are very soft and they are flattened. Flattened means chapte, thin matlab patle and soft matlab you know. They are without body cavity. Now what is body cavity? Body cavity means, if I am talking about myself or us or like humans, the body cavity is the digestive system which arises from mouth and end at anus part. Okay, so they do not have their body cavity, means the under space inside the body is not found. Okay, their body is divided into many segments, and the body is divided into many segments. Many segments means, had you seen earthworm? There are lots of segments, means partition in their body. So here in these animals the partition will be seen, means that the segments will be seen. They mostly live as parasite inside the body of their host. Now this is the very interesting one. See, Ihan Anwar, please pay attention beta here what I am saying. Now what you have to understand here is that how they get their nutrition. So they get nutrition because they are parasite. Now what is parasite? Parasite are those animal, student, which take their nutrition from the living organism by living on them or inside them. Understood? So basically the animal, those who belongs to platyhelminthes are the parasites. Parasites are those animals which live inside any animal or live upon any other animal. For example, the lices which found in your hairs, जिसको आप जू बोलते हो, that is also a parasite. जो आपके पेट में जो worms होते हैं, that is also a parasite, because they need one living organism to get their food. Understood? That's why they are known as parasite. And also they harm that animals from which they are getting the nutrients. Okay, so the animal which is taking the nutrients will be known as parasite, and from the animals which they are getting the nutrients, they are known as host. If you are not getting it, I am just giving you one example. For example, our body, this is our body, and inside our head the Jew is found. So the Jew will be parasite and our body will be host. Understood? The worm is found inside our stomach. The worm will be parasite and our body will be host. So now you get the term host and parasite. What is host and what is parasite? Understood? Okay. Now when you see the example
Yes,
of platyhelminthes, there is liver fluke, planaria, blood fluke and tapeworm. Obviously the blood fluke will harm our blood. The planaria is just like a worm. Okay, the liver fluke is given in the diagram of 3.4, and tapeworm, obviously it is found in the stomach of the animals. Understood? Now the next phylum which we are going to study today this will be the last phylum which we are going to study today, and after that we will study in our next class. So next phylum is phylum Nematoda, and they are also known as SK helminthes. Okay, and they are also known as Nemathelminthes. Okay, now what are they look like? So they look like a round worm. So the worm which is having round body, worm means they will be tail like in projection, and round means their body will be in diameter. Okay, so they comes into the category of which phylum? They comes into the category of Nematoda phylum. Okay, so here are two examples given from the phylum Nematoda: roundworm and hookworm. They both, see the diagram, the both worms are round in structure. Okay, so they both belongs to which phylum? They belongs to Nematoda phylum. Nematoda have long cylindrical and unsegmented body. They will be long, they will be round, but the body will be not segmented. Segmented means, I told you, not divided. Okay, some members of the group are thread like, and some animals of these group are also like a thread. They live as parasite. As I told to all of you what is the meaning of parasite. They also act as a parasite, that means live inside any living organism. Okay, including inside the body of animals including human, and causes disease, and they also causes disease. Example, Scaris roundworm. This is roundworm which is found inside your stomach, okay, when you become ill and when you having dysentery problem. Hookworm and threadworm. Yes, beta?
Ma'am, how they come? Ma'am, how they come in our body?
Yes, very good, beta. Very good question. See, had you seen some childrens when they are very small, they used to eat the sand which is found in your field. Okay. That from that sand they comes in the inside the body of the animal. Understood? That's why, student, when you eat something and that thing gets fall down, your parents stop to eat that food. Just not because that food become very dusty. That means also that food being in the contact of some germs and some parasite. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
That's why never eat without washing your hand. Never eat anything which is fallen down. Okay, a very good question, Ayushi Nanda. Okay, so yes, students, today we will study only till here. Okay, and from in our next class we will study from phylum Annelida. Okay, now just see how many. Okay, now I guess in next class we are going to finish this chapter. Okay, so if we are having our next class tomorrow, we will make sure that this chapter will be completed in our next class. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so now anyone is having any doubt, beta?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so may I ask some question to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I will just recall one by one each and every student, and if I am taking the name of that student, only that student will unmute his video. Okay, so the very first student which is showing on my screen is Ihan Anwar. Ihan, unmute your video, beta. So beta, how many kingdom was there?
5.
Very good. Can you name them? Beta, your voice is not coming. Can you name them? Okay, leave it, beta. Your voice is not coming. I think there will be a network problem. So I am just swiping it to another student. Jayashree Jaiswal.
Ma'am, there are 5 kingdom classification: kingdom Monera, kingdom Protista, kingdom Fungi, kingdom Plantae, and kingdom Animalia.
Very good, Jayashree. Now the next student which is showing on my screen is Advika Srivastava. Okay, Advika, can you tell me in how many division the kingdom Plantae was divided?
Ma'am, 5.
Very good. Can you name them? I think the name is very difficult. But can you name them, any one or two of them?
Ma'am, Polyphera.
No, beta, I am asking about the kingdom Plantae, not Animalia. Kingdom Plantae, in which I had teach you plants. Okay, don't worry. I know the names are very tough to recall. You know na, there were 5 division found in kingdom Plantae. Okay, the first one was Thallophyta. The second one was Pteridophyta. No, the second one was Bryophyta, then Pteridophyta, then gymnosperm, and then angiosperm. The gymnosperm and the angiosperm was the flowering plants, and the thallophyta, pteridophyta and bryophyta were non-flowering plant. Now the next student which is showing on my screen is, beta please just on your videos, Nivedita, Shudhanshu, Shubh, Shreya, Varun. Okay, Shreya, you tell me beta, if you see a cell of kingdom Monera and when you see a cell of kingdom Protista, what is the difference you will find out? Beta unmute. Beta unmute.
Ma'am, kingdom Monera cells are unicellular.
Okay.
And ma'am, which cell you have said?
Protista.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, Protista cells are ma'am.
Both are having unicellular organism. Both are having unicellular. Only the difference is the type of cell. The Monera will be having prokaryotic cells, means not so advanced cells, and the Protista will be having which type of cells? Eukaryotic cells. Okay. Acha, which type of cells our body is having? Eukaryotic or prokaryotic?
Ma'am, our body is having ma'am both.
No beta, our body is having eukaryotic cell. Because I told you that the prokaryotic cells are only found in which kingdom? Only found in kingdom Monera, because the prokaryotic cells is not having that capacity to form multicellular. Okay. Okay, now the next student is Nivedita. Nivedita, can you differentiate between what is unicellular and what is multicellular animal? Okay, no problem beta, no problem if you're not getting it. Okay, now the next student is Shudhanshu Chaudhary. Beta, are you there? Shudhanshu, are you there? Okay, no problem. Shubh, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Shubh, can you tell me the difference between unicellular and multicellular organism? Okay, no problem beta, if you're not getting it, don't worry. See,
I don't know.
Okay, no problem beta. The difference between unicellular and multicellular organism is the unicellular organism complete its whole body in a single cell, like bacteria. Okay, bacteria is a unicellular organism, means the whole body of bacteria is completed in a single cell. But when you see multicellular organism, they need multiple cells. For example, us, we are the example of multicellular organisms. Plants are the example of multicellular organism. Fungi are the example of multicellular organisms. Understood? Now I think all of you are aware about the different terms which we had used in these two chapters. Okay. So now now can I leave the class? Okay. Thank you so much for the student, those who had joined the class, and make sure from the next time all of you will join the class, because there is only I guess 7 to 8 students from both the section those who had joined the class. Okay.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Okay, good afternoon beta.